Story 1, The Last Broadcast Asterisk. I used to work the graveyard shift at a small-town AM radio station. We were the kind of static-filled frequency only night owls or truckers stumbled across. My shift was midnight to 6 in the morning, and most nights it was just me, a stack of records, and the low hum of the transmitter keeping me company. That's probably why I noticed the first call so clearly. It came in at 12:17 a.m. I answered the way I always did. WW6.RT. You're on the air. The voice on the other end was so faint I almost thought it was static. I can see you. I chuckled awkwardly, assuming it was some drunk messing around. All right, buddy. What song you want to hear? The caller ignored my question. Blue flannel shirt. Coffee mug with a sticker. Dent in the desk where your chair keeps hitting it. My stomach dropped. I looked at myself. I was in a blue flannel. My coffee mug did have a faded sticker. The desk was dented. I hung up fast. Told myself it was a coincidence. But at 12:47, the phone rang again. Same voice. You scratch your beard when you're nervous. I ripped my hand from my chin. The left turntable is skipping. Don't fix it. I liked the sound. My skin crawled. The calls came every half hour, like clockwork. Achi, 1:17, 1:47, 2:17. Each time describing exactly what I had just done, leaning back in my chair, yawning, adjusting the mic dot by 3 a.m. I snapped. Listen, who the hell is this? I shouted into the receiver. There was silence. Then, low and deliberate, I'm not watching you. I'm sitting right behind you. My chair screeched as I spun around. Nothing, just the racks of equipment, humming in the corner. The phone went dead. I sat frozen for hours, heart pounding with every creak in the building. Then, just before my shift ended, at 5:55, the phone rang one last time. I lifted it with a shaking hand. Don't turn around this time, the voice whispered. It doesn't matter. They already heard it. Heard what? I asked. Your last broadcast ... double quotes, click ... when the morning host arrived. Cheerful as ever, I asked if she'd heard my show. She frowned and told me the transmitter had been down all night. But I swear I was live. I swear I heard the hum. So if we were off the air, who was listening? Even now, when I step into that studio, I sometimes see the chair rocking ever so slightly, as if someone just stood up. Story to the Motel Room Key. It was past midnight when exhaustion finally caught me. I'd been driving cross-country headlights, slicing through endless black highway, and when I saw a flickering neon sign that read motel, I pulled in without thinking. The parking lot was empty except for a single beat-up pickup. The office smelled of cigarettes and mildew. The clerk barely looked up as I walked in. His skin was sallow, his eyes sunk deep. One night, I said, sliding my card across. He slid a brass key back to me. Room 7. Then he added, almost muttering, Don't touch room 6. I frowned. What's wrong with room 6? He just stared until I picked up the key and left. Room 7 was basic thin carpet, buzzing light, a bedspread that looked older than me. I fell asleep as soon as I hit the mattress. The pounding woke me. Heavy fists against my door. My eyes shot open. The clock glowing, 12:43. Let me in. A voice screamed. I froze. The voice was mine. The pounding grew frantic. Open the door. Please let me in. My hand hovered over the knob before I remembered the clerk's warning. Don't touch room 6. Hot racing. I peeked through the curtain. Down the row of rooms. Door number 6 rattled like someone was trying to break out. The pounding on my door stopped. Then a whisper slid through the keyhole. Hot breath brushing my ear. You should have opened it. I didn't sleep again that night. When I checked out in the morning, the clerk's eyes narrowed. You didn't open it, did you? I shook my head. Good, he muttered. No one who opens it ever checks out. I drove off without another word. But sometimes, in cheap roadside motels, I'll see brass keys lined in neat rows. And room 6 is always missing. Story 3. The playground at midnight when I was 17. My friends dared me to sneak into the old playground after midnight. Everyone in town said it was haunted, that kids who died in accidents that are still played after dark. I didn't believe it, but I wanted to prove I wasn't scared. The gate squealed as I slipped through. The place was deserted, lit only by a weak street. The swings rocked lazily in the night breeze. Then I heard it. Laughter got high-pitched, childlike. I spun around. But the playground was empty. Still, the seesaw moved. The merry-go-round spun slowly. The swings creaked under weight that wasn't there. "Hello," I whispered. The laughter grew louder. One swing jerked violently, as though something had leaped onto it. The chains rattled and groaned. My breath came fast. I stumbled backward, but the giggles followed me, circling, echoing. I bolted for the gate, didn't stop running until I was home. I slammed my bedroom door, heart racing, certain I'd left it behind. But then, soft laughter drifted up from outside my window. That was years ago. I'm grown now, with kids of my own. And sometimes, lachi-hachi night, when the house is quiet, my children giggle in their sleep. When I ask them what's funny, they just whisper, "The kids at the playground want you to come back." Story 4, the mirror in the attic when my grandmother passed. I inherited a farmhouse. Most of it was crumbling, but the attic was the strangest dot. In the far corner stood a tall, cracked mirror. Its frame was carved with twisting shapes I couldn't identify. The first time I looked into it, my reflection lagged, smiling a fraction too late. My eyes lingered longer than they should have. That night, I dreamed of the attic. My reflection grinned, teeth too sharp, whispering, "Let me out." Every day after, it grew bolder, tilting its head when I didn't, mouthing words I couldn't hear. One evening, I covered it with a blanket. The next morning, the blanket was folded neatly on the floor. The mirror uncovered, my reflection still smiling. Finally, I grabbed a hammer and smashed it. Glass shattered across the floor. I thought it was over, but later, in the bathroom mirror, I saw it again. My reflection smiling when I wasn't, waiting. You can cover a mirror. You can smash it, but reflections, they're everywhere, and sooner or later, mine will find a way out. Story 5. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It was close to 2 a.m. when I saw her on the side of the highway. A young woman, barefoot, wearing a thin white dress. I slowed, rolled down the window. "Need a ride?" She nodded, sliding silently into the back seat. She was ice cold. Shivering though the heater blasted, she gave me an address on the edge of town. I tried small talk, but she barely spoke, just whispered words I couldn't catch. When I pulled into the driveway, I turned to tell her we'd arrived. The back seat was empty. Confused, I knocked on the door. An older woman answered. "Does a young woman live here?" White dress, dark hair, her face paled. She was my daughter. She died in a car accident 10 years ago tonight. The door shut slowly. I stood frozen on the porch, my car still idling. But every year since driving that same stretch of road, I've seen her, standing in the dark, barefoot, waiting for a ride home she'll never finish.